how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Nasty Reacts. Today we're going to be watching a video from Hoops Report. Is Steph Curry really the best player in the NBA? Let's just dive right in. Let's get to it. Boom.
Nobody's going to beat the best player in the world, Steph Curry.
Best player in the world? Steph Curry's the best player in the world?
Big man said it.
By far.
She's going to argue with
The NBA
Shaq?
is filled with more talent than ever before in history. I mean, giant 7-foot unicorns who used to appear once in a blue moon are now appearing everywhere. 6'6" tanks are reminding us all about the definition of bully ball, and athletic guards these days are jumping around like gravity doesn't affect them. But in the midst of all these tall, strong, athletic beasts stands a 6'3" skinny kid out of Ohio who could barely dunk a ball. We know he's elite. His resume and accolades speak for themselves. But is he really the best player in the league?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure
let's
you're going
find
to tell
out.
me. Got my own opinion.
First
but...
off, before we get into some serious debates and dialogues, we have to define what it means to be the best player in the league.
Get to it.
Otherwise, we can literally be going in circles all day. Is the best player simply the most unstoppable offensive player? And how about defense? Where does that factor into all this? And then there's leadership. Certainly being able to make your teammates better should play a factor as well in determining if you're the best in the world. We can argue that there should be more factors in this, and we could debate about it for days. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to use these as the 3 determining factors, and each one will be out of 10 points, with 1 being poor and 10 being the best. For the comparison list, I selected every member of the 2022 All-NBA team, plus a few more who I felt deserved to be here. I may have missed a player that you felt should be here, but I think we'll all agree that this list is at least 95% of what you'll come up with.
Yeah,
with
I
that
see
being said,
like one
let's
person
get
there
started.
who I'd get rid of.
I'll do this in alphabetical order with the player's last name. And first off, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Love him.
In terms of being unstoppable,
Absolutely love him.
Giannis has pretty much everything except a three-point shot, which is
he's
a
getting
huge
better.
part of
And at
today's
least he'll
game.
shoot it.
He's elite when it comes to defense,
Like
but
Ben
when it comes to
Simmons.
elevating his teammates, I can't say he's bad, but I wouldn't call him the best either. He has a final score of 23.5. Next off, we got Devin Booker. He has a nice offensive game, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. I mean, Jalen Brunson outscored him in their Game 7 matchup, for Pete's sake. He's an average level defender, and when it comes to elevating his teammates, it's honestly laughable.
Yeah, he's kind of a
His
drama
final
queen.
score here is 14. Jalen Brown is next.
I like Jalen Brown.
He has a nice offensive package, but is evident
I
in the
think Jalen
finals
Brown
he
is
needs to
better
work
than
on his
Jason Tatum,
handles.
personally.
I mean, Draymond himself said that his inability to drive left played a big role in why the Celtics lost. Anyways, his speed and length makes him a pretty good defender, and his plays on the court definitely does make his teammates better. Jalen gets a total score of 18.5.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler is next on the
Jim
list.
James buckets.
He averaged 27.4 games over the course of the 2022 playoffs, on about 51% shooting from the floor. So needless to say,
Monster, bro.
he's a bucket
Yeah.
getter. He's a tough defender, and when it comes to leadership, the Miami Heat really does ride or die on Jimmy Bucket's ability to lead. He gets a total score of 20.5.
Fair.
We're now at Steph Curry. As we just saw from the finals
Right.
against Boston, Steph Curry is the most unstoppable player in the league. Now, even a team boasting the Defensive Player of the Year could slow him down. I mean, we all watched how he cooked the entire Celtics in Game 4, right? Anyways, he's not the best defender, but he's definitely worked on that end of the court
He's
since
not the
entering the league.
worst.
And when it comes to leadership and elevating the play of his teammates, he's number 1. Why else do you think that practically every player who ends up with the Warriors ends up getting a bag? Curry gets a final score of 24.
Oof, just barely beating out
we're at the letter
Giannis,
D
huh?
now, and we got DeMar DeRozan. Offensively,
Man.
he's the mid-range king, but when he's
beat,
outside
like,
of the
5 of
three-point
Wilt
line, he's
Chamberlain's
practically
records last
harmless.
season.
He's an average 6'6" defender, and when it comes to leadership, he's pretty average there as well. DeRozan gets a final score of 17.
that's fair.
Next off, we got Luka Doncic.
Luka's got
Even
to
though
have
he's
a 10
averaging
in
close to
fucking
30 points a game,
offensive
I wouldn't
ability.
say
Like
he's
it-
as unstoppable as Curry.
Really?
He's not quite there yet. Maybe in another
Have
2
you
to 3
seen what
years,
he's been doing
perhaps?
this season? When was this
Anyways, his defense is atrocious, but his leadership game is solid. Luka gets a solid 20.
made? 20? Okay.
At this point in time, y'all might be saying, that's crazy. How could you possibly have Butler slightly ahead of young Luka? Well, to be honest, when Butler plays in the postseason, he's a different animal, as we clearly saw. He was a three-point shot away from bringing the Heat back to the finals, whereas Luka's Mavericks were never even close. Things might change though, but as from what we've seen so far, I got Jimmy slightly ahead. Anyway, next off we got Kevin Durant. It's crazy, but as we just saw against Boston, there is a way to stop Durant. So for that reason, he doesn't get a perfect score of unstoppableness. He's a decent defender when he tries, but when it comes to leadership, evidently, he has tons to work on. KD gets a 21. Joel Embiid is up next. They say this guy can do everything Kobe does on offense, except he's 7 feet tall. He's not the best defender, but his length and size automatically makes him a decent defender in the paint. And when it comes to his leadership skills and ability to elevate his teammates, he could definitely use some work. Embiid gets a 21.5. Anyways, time to move on to Uncle Drew.
No.
Kyrie Irving is arguably the most talented player in today's game. I mean, he has every move in the book plus some.
But he doesn't
The
play.
defense always has to guess what he'll do next.
I can guess
when
what he
it
does
comes to
next.
his own
He's gonna
defense,
sit out.
however, it's a
Over
different
some
story.
dumb
Don't even get me started on his
reason.
leadership skills. Kyrie gets a
I'm out
14.5.
of here.
LeBron James
That's
is
the one
up
person
next.
I wouldn't have put on
He's
that list.
37 years old now, yet he still finished a season where he averaged 30 points a game. I doubt he'll be able to perform those chase down blocks like he used to, but his size and length are still probably enough to make an impact on defense when he chooses to.
I'm recording
When it comes
this
to elevating
on
his
the
team through
same
leadership,
night as
through 4 championships,
LeBron's
LeBron knows a
38th
thing
birthday.
or two.
And
The
you dropped
King gets a score
47.
of 21. Nikola Jokic is up next. The reigning 2-time MVP has a complete offensive package and also has the softest touch I've ever seen from a big man. He's not the best defender, but I guess when you're 7 feet tall, you'll alter some shots. He'll have to work on his leadership skills a bit more, though, if he wants to get the most out of his teammates and win a championship. The Joker is at 21.5.
Don't you kind of have to be a good
Ja
leader
Morant
in
of the
order
Grizzlies
to
is up next.
be a
When it
great
comes to the guard
playmaker?
position, Morant is probably the most explosive. He's also improved
Which
his
he
efficiency from beyond the arc, and if that efficiency ever gets close to 40, he's going to be a huge problem. As for defense, he was able to keep up and block Kyrie a while ago, and more recently, he pinned with 2 hands a layup attempt by Avery Bradley.
Good
His ability
Lord,
to elevate
boy.
his teammates is something he'll have to work on, though, because for some strange reason, the Grizzlies did significantly better when Morant wasn't in the game. Morant gets a 17.5. Kawhi Leonard is up next. He's a 3-level scorer, but has trouble scoring over lengthy athletic defenders. He's 31 now, coming off a leg injury, so although I think he'll still be a good defender, he won't be the defensive player of the year type of guy that he used to be.
Yeah,
His leadership, very questionable. I mean, isn't that what caused the downfall of the Clippers in the bubble? Kawhi gets an 18.5.
Maybe.
The point guard is up next. Chris Paul, like LeBron, is an aging dinosaur that still somehow plays elite level basketball. Patrick Beverley called him a cone on defense, but there's nothing that could be said about his ability to elevate his team. CP3 gets a solid 16. Next up, we got Jason Tatum. Tatum has almost the complete offensive package, but evidently from the way Golden State guarded him, he still has areas for improvement. His defense was stellar against Durant, and as for his leadership, he's about the same as Jaylen Brown. Tatum gets a 22. Next off, we got Pascal Siakam. Pascal, in my opinion, is a good player, but vastly overrated.
Yes.
He's slightly above average in offense, slightly above average in defense, and doesn't really elevate his teammates.
I agree
Pascal
with
gets a
everything
50.
said about Pascal.
Karl
I like
Anthony
him.
Towns is up next. Honestly, it's not his talent that's holding him back, but more of his mindset. He has the ability to be up there with Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid, but yet, when it comes to being unstoppable, I got him at a 7. His defense isn't quite there, and neither is his leadership. Cat gets a solid 15. Next off, we got Zion Williamson. We haven't seen him play for a year, but man, if this were the
killing this
70s
season.
and the three-point line didn't exist, he might be the most unstoppable player because of his combination of size and athleticism. His defense is all right too, but when it comes to leadership, being overweight and injured as a result of being overweight doesn't
I don't like that.
exactly inspire your
You
teammates.
can't
Zion gets a solid 16.5.
Stop making fun of Zion
Last
for being
off, we got
overweight, bro.
Trae
He
Young.
had a leg injury.
Honestly, I thought Trey
You
was a
can't
lot
work out
more
with a leg
unstoppable,
injury. What
but
do you
clearly
expect?
against the Heat
You're
in the
gonna put on
playoffs,
weight.
he has a lot to work on when it comes to offense. I mean, he averaged 15 points per game on 18% shooting from three-point range and was a turnover machine. Defense doesn't come easy for him either at 6'1", and neither does leadership. Ice Trey gets a final score of 15.5. Anyway, that's it for my top 20, and yeah, in my opinion, when it comes to the best player currently in the league, Steph Curry sits on top of the
barely
list.
over
I mean,
Giannis.
he's unstoppable, as we just saw in the finals. He's a great leader, and he works on his deficiencies like defense. He's not the strongest guy, he's not the most athletic, and he certainly isn't the tallest. But when it comes to the best, it's hard to argue against the reigning finals MVP.
Very true. Very true. So I love the video, honestly. Like I said, Hoop Reports does a fantastic job with their content. There's a couple of things in here that I definitely disagree with. Mainly the fact that Kyrie is even on here. I don't think he even deserves any recognition at all. I really don't. I don't care how well he can dribble. I don't care how well he can shoot. He doesn't show up. He never shows up. The other one that I don't agree with is Zion. Again, he had a leg injury. He was out for a year and literally did, he can't move, can't work out. Why? I don't understand the narrative of oh yeah, he's fat, he doesn't care, he doesn't want to work. You don't know that. He couldn't work. I don't know. I don't think it's fair to judge Zion this early. If injuries continue to pile up, then it's a bust for injury's sake. But I don't think you can ever say that his work ethic is bad based off of the injuries he's had. I don't understand that conclusion. But overall, fantastic video. Shout out Hoop Reports. Love your videos, man. But yeah, that's all I got for today, man. I'm out.